let's go back to wrestling.
All right. So, did you watch The Undertaker, The Last Ride, which he wrote 5 times?
Yep. I watched everything. I watched the first episode. Then it took me about 3 weeks to watch the second, third, fourth, fifth, and all the rest of it.
Yeah, I just watched it like last night.
Yeah, I think it's very fresh for you still.
Yeah, but I kind of, you know what? You know that song that has like eat, sleep, rave, repeat,
Yep,
eat,
yep.
sleep. Taker's one is just like
Yeah, exactly.
Taker's one is like it's just every
I know,
episode is like retire, come back. No,
Yes,
retire, sees
yes.
his match. This feels unsatisfied, come back. Retire, sees his match, feels unsatisfied. He comes back.
He is his own devil, you know.
Yeah.
He is his own death. He is his own what is that? What is that thing that they put you inside? A casket?
Coffee.
A coffin. Yes. He nails his own coffin. He opens it up. He put himself inside himself, and then he closes it and he nails himself back.
No, that's the
inside.
thing. Like I was watching it, and of course, like you are not a wrestling fan if you say like, "Oh, Undertaker sucks," and we don't like
No,
it.
no.
Like everybody loves
L-
the.
yes.
I've never met one guy who goes like, "Ah, fuck Undertaker."
And I have met a lot of people who don't watch wrestling and they were like, Undertaker.
Yeah. You like. I think Stone Cold, The Rock, The Undertaker. Like those are
John
the
Cena.
3. Yeah, maybe
You-
Cena.
you
Yeah,
can never-
like
Cena is just a meme everywhere.
yeah, like non-wrestlers will know.
Yes.
Okay, like these 4 people.
It's like
Hulk Hogan, maybe
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan. Yeah.
Hulk Hogan. I don't
Maybe
know.
not our generation though. Like
Yeah.
I don't think our generation of people who don't know wrestling.
Yep.
If you tell them Hulk Hogan, maybe they'll know like, oh yeah, isn't he the
Like-
wrestling guy?
Yeah, exactly.
But they won't know like if you say Cena, they go like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
Cena.
these wrestlers are like David Beckham and Cristiano Ronaldo of football.
Yeah, or like Kobe and LeBron.
Kobe. Tribute to Kobe.
Which did you see Undertaker going like
Yep.
Kobe?
Yeah, I was like, oh.
It's so weird. Like Undertaker is like
And so that means that's how Kobe has impacted a lot of people.
yeah. No, and
Okay.
yeah, he's a different level
Yeah,
sports
now-
athlete.
We have to talk about the Undertaker since this is a wrestling podcast.
I know. So yeah, no, like do you realize like every episode starts off like this? Taker's at home,
Yep.
and then he watches a match, and then he's like, "Ah man, I'm unsatisfied about this."
Especially that Brock match.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
that Brock match that keeps haunting him over and over and over.
And then in the middle of the episode, he goes like, "So I get a call from Vince,"
Well, I gotta call.
And then-
Wins.
and then he says, and then he'll tell this. All right, give me about 5 weeks to get ready, and then I'll let you know what happens, whether I feel good or not. And then he goes, and then they'll show him training and all that. He'll be like, "Yeah, I feel good." Oh,
Yeah.
but you know what's the worst? The first thing about the first episode was basically just everybody's like, "Hey Undertaker, how are you?" "Well, I'm broken here, and I'm broken there, and I'm broken here." I'm like,
You know, when I watched the first episode, I was just like, my goodness, they keep calling him back when he's already like this. But as I watched the second, third, fourth, and fifth, then I realized it's just the Undertaker. His pride is too. His pride
he
is too
loves the
strong.
pro wrestling
Yeah,
industry
Yeah, not. I don't want to
like
say.
so much. Like
Yeah,
he
he
loves
it so much, and he wants to prove it to the fan that he can do this.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, he did have a bad match. Then he had the match after the Roman match that was horrible also.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
And we could and it's he was very sincere.
Yeah.
He felt really bad for making Roman look like an idiot. But the thing is, Roman didn't look like an idiot at that night. We know Roman can do it, but we know at the same time that the Undertaker is getting old, and we know he has this hip problem that's been been hampering his performance and all that.
That's the thing. Like as when I was watching the documentary,
Yep.
it was very clear. Like towards the end of the second episode, they'll show the Roman match, the Roman and Undertaker match, and they were showing the highlights, and the way they edited it, it made it look like as though it was like a really good match, and I was
Yep.
like, oh man, don't WWE is doing this editing, and then at the start of the third episode, they acknowledged that match was not good.
Yep.
Then I was like, okay, at least they are not.
And another thing, acknowledging not good matches is the Super Showdown
Oh, yeah.
match. That was a shit fest.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
And then the only person who could have wrestled normally with the Undertaker was Triple H. After I think they had a good match when they were 1 versus 1. They had a good match.
Yeah, I think it wasn't a bad match. It was
Yeah.
just really long.
It was really
It was in
long.
Australia, I think they had the match.
Yeah,
right?
the first one was in Australia. Then the second one in Saudi.
Yeah.
That's when they had the 2 versus 2.
Where Triple H tore his back.
Yeah, Triple H tore his back. Then after that, Shawn Michaels looked rusty.
He tore his
No,
hair.
he didn't look rusty. He was rusty. Then he took Kane's mask and hair off
Yeah.
until Kane had to like awkwardly drop down from the turnbuckle and like roll out and find his mask back.
That was pretty bad.
Basically, it was just left to the Undertaker to carry the ring rust, the 2% with ring rust in the match.
Yeah.
And Undertaker, and but it's just a vicious cycle he put himself in. He comes back, he has a good match, then he's like, oh, I can do this, and then he'd be like, you get a bad match, then you're like, no, I have to redeem myself now. Come on, man.
Yeah, I think I don't know where in the documentary, but one part someone tells like it's like two things that happen. He comes back and he has a bad match,
Yeah.
and then he goes, I cannot end it this way. I should have a good match. I should redeem myself. And then when he has a good match, he feels like, oh, I can do this now, and I should have more matches. And then he fucks things up. It's like either way, you just end up like fucking coming back. Like the Extreme Rules match. Okay. Like that was an example of where he ended perfectly and it was a good match. I think it was him, the Graveyard Dogs
Yep. The Graveyard
versus
Dogs.
was it McIntyre and Ziggler? I don't know, McIntyre and
McIntyre and Shane.
Shane, yeah, McIntyre and Shane. Where they had a good match, and I think Taker was also happy with the match. But yet, what happened? Then he decides like, oh, it was good.
Yeah,
I felt good,
Let's have another match.
and then he fucks it up by facing Goldberg.
Yep. The Goldberg match was a shit show.
That was
Yeah, I think that was his last straw, right? He was like, okay, I have to like
no, or was it
reassess
Goldberg? I know. I think the Goldberg match was. I think the Graveyard Dogs match was after Goldberg. I
No,
think.
it was before.
Was it before?
Before.
Okay.
I remember like that was like one of the last matches. It was like one of the
Yeah, that was a
the
sad match.
third last match, I think. So then because after that definitely he wanted to like redeem himself.
What match did he have after that? I'm not sure. I forgot.
Okay. Last year he had that shit show. Then he had the one with Triple H. Oh. He had another good match. Then he came back. He did the program with AJ Styles, but I can't remember what.
Yeah,
was the good
I can't
match.
remember the good match also. Like it is really a double-edged sword where if you have a good match, you'll want to come back. Or like if you have a bad match,
Yep.
for instance the Goldberg match or the DX match,
Mm-hmm.
he looks at it and then he says, "Oh, I'm not satisfied and I want to come back." And
I think it was like the DX match first, then the Goldberg match, like
Yes.
back to back, and that's when he started like he had that the failed jackhammer which almost
broke his neck.
broke his neck, and
Yeah.
he started like reassessing whatever his decision he's been doing.
True.
He's been taking.
And like what he did was he had a good match after that
Yeah.
with the Extreme Rules match, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, with the Graveyard Dogs.
Yes, the Graveyard Dogs versus Shane and Drew McIntyre,
Yeah,
right?
versus Shane and Drew McIntyre.
So he had a good match,
Omni Shane.
and as usual, the double-edged sword is I had a good match. Now I can keep doing this.
Yep.
And then what he does, he comes back for AJ Styles,
Yep.
and then this is
I
I think
mean-
this is like already at the 5th part of the documentary,
we-
right?
That no, at that point it was just like after that Shane at the Graveyard Dogs match, he was already satisfied and he was like, okay, I'm not gonna do this for some time. And I think he missed last year's WrestleMania.
Yeah, he did. He did.
Okay,
Apparently, he was backstage.
he was just in
They
backstage,
showed him being
and that's
backstage.
when he was like, "Oh man, it doesn't feel right. I have to do this again." But also at the same time, he was like reassessing what is happening. Like he almost broke his neck and he couldn't support his family and all that. He started feeling bad and all that. And then in his podcast with in the podcast with Stone Cold, he said like he wants to end this in his own terms and all that. That's when, as whoever who would have watched
Uncle Alan.
the documentary would have known that Uncle Alan hit up Uncle Taker.
Yeah.
Yeah, he called up Uncle Taker and I was like, "Yo, Taker, let's have one last match."
But
You know?
do you realize something like how much AJ Styles is actually respected in the backstage?
Yep.
Which is something I
Yeah, it's like he wanted the match to happen and he told Vince and he was like already calling Undertaker to he himself called the Undertaker, right?
he called him. He said I didn't want it to go through. They had like a mutual friend or something.
Yeah, through AJ Styles' wife and Michelle McCool.
Michelle McCool. They had like a friend who they travel with.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, like, what amazed me was that AJ Styles 5 years ago, nobody will even look at him in WWE. Nobody even cared who he was when he was in. Like, he spent so many years in TNA.
Yep.
And he was producing amazing matches in TNA. I think he had like one of the first 5-star matches in TNA, which
Yeah.
was the triple threat with Christopher Daniels and Samoa Joe. Have you seen that? You should watch that match. It's a really good match.
I think you showed me it. I just haven't watched it.
It's so good. And then he had so much, like he gave so much to that company, and his stock was not high. He was still people knew who AJ Styles
Okay.
was and they respected him, but he was not like AJ fucking Styles. And that 2 years in New Japan, 1.5 years,
The Bullet Club.
that Bullet
yes.
Club run, and he faced so many different like,
Nakamura match in that.
yeah, that Nakamura match, yeah.
Yeah.
And then he even had matches with like Okada and
Before he was the Rainmaker.
yeah, no, while he was Rainmaker,
Oh, okay.
like he I think he won the heavyweight the IWGP
Yeah,
title
IW Heavyweight.
on his first
Championship.
match,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
and like that
Like
run,
his first try.
yeah, and that run made
Mhm.
AJ Styles' name like in a different level.
Yeah,
And I think like everybody remembers AJ Styles now as AJ Styles. Like when you see his body of work,
Mm-hmm.
he spent so many years in TNA, but WWE never took notice. And that 1.5 years in New Japan made him like that's why he bypassed NXT, he bypassed all that,
Mm-hmm.
and he straight went to the main roster. And he made like don't forget, like he debuted in the Royal Rumble.
Royal Rumble, and I remembered. Then I met you guys. You guys were like passionate about wrestling and all that, and we were watching Royal Rumble, and that's when AJ Styles debuted, and you told me AJ Styles was the best wrestler of 2015 or 2016, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I mean the year that he came in, like
Yeah, a year. That means the year prior to
yeah,
it.
because I was like hyped after watching the Nakamura match.
Yeah, and I do remember. No, I think he was the number one wrestler of the year before.
I think maybe like the
Yeah.
PWI or something. Yeah.
Yep. And I was like so hyped up because at that point Daniel Bryan was like retired already, if I'm not mistaken.
He retired.
He was already retired, and that, as everybody who listens to us probably knows, that I love Daniel Bryan so much. Okay, and when he retired, and they said like AJ Styles was the best wrestler and all that, then I was like, oh shit, this is the guy who's gonna replace, and he definitely did it. AJ Styles really lived up to the name, and then Daniel Bryan came back. Till Daniel Bryan came back, he was doing really fine. He was like, oh, my number one wrestler. Then Daniel Bryan came back. I was like, sorry, Styles. Daniel Bryan's back.
Yeah, it's no harm being number 2.
Yeah, no harm being number 2. Probably he can be number 1 someday.
Yeah.
But Daniel Bryan has been good, ever since he
Yeah,
came back. He did that Universal Championship thing for a while.
What Universal Championship?
Oh no, the WWE champion of the world of the green WWE champion.
Yes, that was such a good run, man.
Okay, and then even after that, his storyline with Drew Gulak is good.
I mean, it takes a special talent for someone who is so loved like Daniel Bryan
Mm-hmm.
to be so hated.
We're going back into
Oh, damn it,
Daniel
we're going into
Bryan.
our Daniel Bryan
Yep.
abyss.
Yep, let's come back.
We always, if any one of us brings up Daniel Bryan, we just start this whole
Daniel Bryan.
of praises.
This is our Undertaker vicious cycle
Yes,
of Daniel
yes.
Bryan.
Anytime we go like, yes, so everything's this is then Daniel Bryan.
Yeah,
Daniel Bryan's
Bryan.
the
Daniel
best.
Bryan's the best wrestler
It's
in
like,
the
all right,
world.
yeah, coronavirus is so bad and all that. Daniel Bryan's amazing.
Daniel Bryan should have faced Undertaker.
Yeah.
My goodness, Undertaker picked AJ Styles.
But you know that it will be an amazing match if Daniel Bryan actually faces
Obviously.
Undertaker. Because Daniel Bryan can have a good match
Mhm.
with anyone. So
So coming back to Undertaker,
yeah.
AJ Styles. I think in this context, it could have. Yeah, I don't think there could be any better opponent for Undertaker other than AJ Styles. Maybe yes. Daniel Bryan.
I can think of one.
I mean yes. I mean Daniel Bryan could have been, but probably Daniel Bryan's style of wrestling might not suit the Undertaker because Undertaker, like stated in the documentary, Undertaker used to always does better when he's facing smaller opponents because, like he said, he understands them well and knows how to work around them. And even if they had like a normal match in the ring, probably would have been good because AJ Styles is like he doesn't do like backflips and all that. But
AJ Styles brought not amazing. I mean, he brought a really good match
mm-hmm.
with Shane McMahon in WrestleMania.
Yeah, Shane McMahon is I don't want to say he's a terrible wrestler, but
He's not the best.
he's not the best in the world.
Yeah, and AJ Styles actually like carried a good match with him,
Yes.
which
AJ Styles
which
had a
shows.
really good match with Roman Reigns when Roman Reigns was having a run of terrible matches.
Yeah, and I bet Undertaker seeing all this must
Mhm.
have thought like, yeah, this is the guy that I can have a match with,
And rightfully, he did. He had the Boneyard match.
I don't understand I really didn't understand why they paired him with Goldberg. It's such a stupid matchup. It was such a stupid
Mhm.
matchup. Goldberg is not a wrestler that can carry a match, and Undertaker is not a wrestler at this age. with
to be carrying any
yeah,
matches.
to be carrying a match, and it just didn't fit at all. It didn't fit at all.
He could have faced Brock.
The thing about Brock is
He
that
beat the Undertaker a few years back, is it?
no, and Brock is a really, really good pro wrestler. People
Mhm,
forget
yes.
how good of a pro. When Brock wants to be a good wrestler, he's an amazing wrestler.
Yeah, I think I watched recently one of his like old matches or something you showed,
Yeah,
and I realized that he can actually like he does a lot of his body like his
Yeah.
grappling and all that. He's actually really
I mean,
he's more than just F5s.
he can do a shooting star press.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
he almost broke his neck.
In OVW, that was his finisher, a shooting star press.
Wow,
Yeah,
he has
And-
come a long way.
and the thing about Brock Lesnar is he had a Hell in a Cell match with the Undertaker
Mm-hmm.
after the streak thing. And remember when Undertaker was kicking him in the balls constantly?
Yep.
Yeah, and they had a really good match, and you can see in that match. Of course, Undertaker wasn't as old as the time he faced Goldberg and all that,
Mhm.
but Lesnar can carry his part of a match. Lesnar and Goldberg was in a really good match.
Yep.
in-
The big move
For
match.
whatever like 30
less-
seconds they
less
fought.
than 5 minutes.
Yeah, less than 5 minutes. But Lesnar, when he wants to turn it up, he can have a really good match. And Goldberg is not one of those guys. Goldberg can't have a good match. If you
Yeah.
ever got time, go watch Goldberg versus William Regal. I think his name was Steven Regal in WCW.
Okay.
And in that match, Steven Regal was like, William Regal
Just William.
was like super pissed at him for something he said backstage,
Mhm.
and he started like actually grappling with Goldberg,
Okay.
and you can see Goldberg just doesn't know what he's doing. He's just lost,
Ah.
and apparently like Regal got fired for that or something, or it got fired or got like fined or something. And so Goldberg has never been that wrestler, and to put him in that match
Okay.
was super irresponsible. I feel like
Yeah, yeah. I mean, in the state the Undertaker was in, yeah, it shouldn't have been. It should have been someone who could have carried the match without
Yeah.
the Undertaker needing the Undertaker to do much. But I we can't deny that what's happening in the world, has helped the Undertaker to have the best send off match.
yeah, it was a blessing that he didn't have to do it. I mean, it's sad that he did. If he's really gonna retire, he
Mhm.
didn't retire in front of a crowd. But
In a way,
it was a pretty good send off that he finally like just took his motorbike and he's like just riding it off.
yeah, it was actually the last ride probably.
But dude, that story about his brother was super sad, right?
Yeah, his brother just passed away a few hours before the match against AJ Styles.
And then everything about the match is all about a graveyard.
Yes,
And
and he injured himself in the match, and he was like, you could understand like how for a person at his age, at the moment of adrenaline rush, it's very important for him to like keep on going.
then they stop.
And they
And then they
stop
go.
and they go and they stop and they go. You can understand his tiredness, at which he had to stay up till 5 a.m. to complete the match.
Yeah, it was. I just feel that AJ Styles was the best last person to have his match with.
Mm-hmm.
I hope he doesn't come back.
I really hope.
I hope he doesn't. I hope maybe if he comes back, it should be like.
Manager.
No, I don't think he should become a man. I feel like if he comes back maybe to save somebody, or he comes back to
Yeah,
like
probably something
like
like that.
you know maybe
He helps Bray to further his.
yeah, maybe he comes
something
back
like
as
that.
something like that. Yeah, where he, or if he comes back,
Mm-hmm.
he needs to get demolished. Like maybe like a Bray Wyatt
Okay.
can like Undertaker comes back for one
Steal
match.
his mystic.
Yeah, because and like from seeing this documentary, you realize like Taker is very giving.
Yep.
He cares about the business. Like
Especially the way he put over Randy Orton.
yeah, that Randy Orton.
He put Randy so over until he was like questioned backstage. What are you doing?
Yeah, and he was like, he said it's for the business.
Yes.
So if he has that mindset, he can do that thing where he faces the Fiend, and the Fiend says like, I want to be the most scariest man alive, and
No, okay, probably not. I'm gonna steal your thunder.
I
Something
want
in that.
yeah, I mean,
probably.
he goes like, okay, I'm known as a man of mystique, and apparently there's a man more than a man.
Yeah.
In order to, I want to kill the dead man, something like
Yeah,
that, where
yeah.
like some slogan, and WWE will just use it. Michael Cole will say that 100 times.
Yeah. And we get fed up of it.
Yeah. So like something like that, and then maybe Taker comes in
Mhm.
and Wyatt finishes him up like in like 5 minutes. Like
Yep.
the Fiend just comes in, just maybe Taker will do his spots like 1-2 a
Mhm.
choke slam and what do you call that? He can do his signature moves like the choke
Mhm, mhm.
slam, and he can do the old school and all that. Just like maybe your last match, one last time you just
get
show.
a few moves.
Yeah,
over.
he can do the sit up again, and
Yep.
I can see
Oh.
like a cool move where he does the claw,
Mm-hmm.
and then while he's doing the claw, Taker sits up,
Mm-hmm.
and then he like everybody gets shocked like, oh, he sits up during the claw,
Yeah.
and then like Bray Wyatt shoves him down even more, and then like
That's where they end it.
yeah, and then they end it that way, and then yeah,
It's like an iconic thing to end as the
book
with
that
the
shit.
Nah.
So
don't-
like I can see if he wants to come back,
Mhm.
come back one last time, lose
probably that's
in-
the way.
in front of the crowd. The
Mhm.
crowd sees you. You get your hashtag thank you Taker. You get a last moment with the crowd. He can
Mhm.
do his sad striptease again and take out his one by one.
They should have ended it then.
Yeah.
When he lost to Roman and he stripped, he took off all his his wrestling gears. He should have that should have been the last one. But yeah, since the documentary enlightened us with the real Taker, now we understand why he does that.
Yeah. And do you realize the documentary was very complimentary of Vince McMahon?
Yeah.
He was like trying to show like, look, Vince has a heart. He's such a nice person. He cares for Undertaker. That part where he goes like, oh, as soon as Undertaker had a concussion, he left WrestleMania. He
Mhm.
left the place he loved. Of course he left. He didn't want Daniel Bryan to win the title.
Exactly.
So he must have been like, oh, fuck that. Who that vanilla guy is gonna win it? Fuck that. I'm gonna go. You know, so like,
And you can see how desperate Vince was when like Undertaker almost appeared in Starcast.
yeah, yeah.
And oh, that
Like
is funny.
there was a whole big fiasco that
Yep.
happened. That what's that guy Conrad something Conrad?
Mm-hmm.
He's the organizer of Starcast,
Mm-hmm.
and he actually booked Undertaker for that.
Yeah. It was I think like everything they spoke about everything in this
Did
documentary.
they mentioned that also?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
They didn't mention about that guy booking
Undertaker,
Undertaker
yeah.
for the Starcast then and all that.
I forgot that. So I was a bit drunk by
So
that point. So
basically, that's all we're gonna talk
well,
about
I
for
think
today.
there's nothing much.
Mm-hmm.